This podcast may contain paid advertisements, but more on that later. Welcome to the O'Connor Bootstrap podcast, where I discuss the nuts and bolts of business and leadership, with a focus on bootstrapping a business from the ground up. This podcast is for all entrepreneurs, bootstrappers, and leaders in all walks of life. My goal is to help you grow both personally and professionally. I am your host, Isaiah O'Connor. Hello, everyone. So today I don't have a huge amount of time, so let's jump right into this. So first I want to show you something from the website tvtropes.org, which is right here. And let's jump over here. Here we go, tvtropes.org. And a trope is, I can't quite explain it. Trope is basically things that you use in storytelling, movies or TV or books, things that people use. One of the most famous ones is The Butler Did It, for example. So that's one. But here's one that I think does relate to business in a really unique way. And that is called required secondary powers. And I'm going to just read a bit about it. That's the problem with any individual superpower. Without the whole suite, it just sucks. The Flash would liquefy from sheer G's, and without super agility and strength, Spider-Man's just a guy with sticky ropes. And I'm just going to read a little bit. Okay, so you've got one of those people who's got a special power, but even if you supposedly have the one ability, if you're going to actually use it for anything, fridge logic, another trope, demands that you have myriad of other passive powers in order to make it work the way it usually does. This is sometimes directly referred to and explained, and sometimes not. And if you want, it's tvtropes.org. You can just search it, required secondary powers, and you can go look into it. Now, let's jump over here. And here's a little webcomic that someone wrote. It shows this quite nicely. So you see in the first panel, I'm going to describe it to you that are doing audio only. If you go, this will be on my website. For the link, if you want to go look at it, it says there shows a version of the Incredible Hulk. It's not, they call him the Incredible Bulk. It's obviously a kind of a send-off or kind of a, I can't think of the word, but they're having fun with it. So, says, first panel, are you sure that you can throw that thing into space? Giant attacking space alien. Bulk says, Bulk can throw anything anywhere. Bulk is the strongest there is. Now, for those of you on the audio-only version, the first panel shows a giant alien robot attacking the city. The second one shows the Incredible Bulk, not to be confused with the Incredible Hulk. Grab the foot of the giant space monster and lift it up, and the ground underneath him collapses. With the ground underneath him collapsing, it's obviously that even though the Bulk was strong enough to lift up, the ground was not. So we can stop that screen share there. So obviously, the Incredible Bulk, even as strong as he was, could not overcome the lack of strength in his foot hitting the ground. So you need more than one superpower. Now, also in nature, this actually really happens, that in nature, there's the fastest insect on Earth is called the Australian tiger beetle. It's the fastest insect on Earth. It can cover about 8 feet in 1 second. At first, that might not sound that impressive. That is until you consider how tiny they are, which is about half an inch long. And when you adjust for their size, they run the equivalent of 10 times faster than the fastest human sprinter. In other words, they are a super speedster, a real super fast insect. They do not have to worry about air resistance because they're so small, but they do have a vision problem. They run so fast that their eyes are not capable of receiving enough photons to see clearly. Their vision becomes blurred, and they have to stop and correct their course often. So they run in short, very fast lines. So they look, aim, run fast, stop. Turn, look, aim, run fast, and stop. Now, how does this apply to your business, to entrepreneurship, to leadership? Because I cover all these topics in the podcast. So what does that mean? Well, your initial business idea or your position as a leader is your superpower. If you're the manager, that's your superpower, that's your main focus, that's what you do. But in order to succeed, there are several other required secondary powers, as it were, that you need to be successful as a leader, as an entrepreneur, as a businessman, that you need in order to succeed. Now, the good news is, well, two things. First of all, some people are born with these other secondary powers, but even if you're not born with these, quote, powers, they are powers that you can actually learn and gain from practice and focus, and by being determined to do so. So just as an idea, real quick, some of the powers would be having a giving spirit, being determined, being a teachable person, and having discipline. These are about 5 key required secondary powers that you need in order to become a good leader, a good businessman, etc. And there might become more, which I will explore as we go on. If I can stop hitting my mic. But with these powers, these are things that you can learn and develop and grow in. You might be naturally determined, or in the case of myself, mule-headed, stubborn. It's a blessing and curse. But all these different things, you need to work together to become the best leader that you can. So going on the next few podcasts, I will be mixing in an interview here and there coming up, but I'm going to be trying to focus on this trend of required secondary powers. What do you need to succeed in business other than a great business idea, other than being a guy who's got the title of manager, for example, or supervisor, a leadership role? What do you need beyond that initial main superpower, the visible thing that everyone sees? What do you need to succeed in that role? Anyway, we'll jump into that here pretty soon. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye. If you found value in this content, please leave a comment and give us a 5-star rating on whichever podcast platform you use. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and most other podcast platforms. If you would like to support us, you can check out our sponsor links, or if you would like to directly support the show, you can donate or join our membership program at buymeacoffee.com/bootstrap. Of course, it really helps when you share these podcasts as well. If you would like to interact with me and other bootstrappers and leaders, you can join our O'Connor Bootstrap Podcast Facebook group. You have been listening to the O'Connor Bootstrap Podcast and Atheoz Business Solutions Podcast. For our companion podcast, the Atheoz Business Podcast, hosted by Jason St. Clair, past episodes, and related blogs, check out our website at www.atheoz.com, which is www.atheoz.com, or theoz.com. Until next time, I've been your friendly neighborhood entrepreneur, Isaiah O'Connor.